jealousy. Look at the 4th verse. But when his brothers saw their father loved him more than all the brothers, they hated him, and could not speak peaceably to him. Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told his brothers, they hated him even more. You know, when the Lord shows us things, sometimes we'll be like Mary, where we ponder things in our heart. Other times, we're at liberty to share what the Lord has shown us to other people. Joseph hadn't learned that yet. He was excited. A lot of newborn Christians are this way. They get saved, and they're all excited about the walk of the Lord. And the Lord starts showing them stuff. And if we're not careful, older brothers and sisters of the Lord will get jealous of them. So what happened was, the older brothers are jealous, they hated him more. So he said to them, please hear this dream which I have dreamed. And he talked about the dream being out in the field binding sheaves. My sheep arose and also stood upright. Indeed, their sheep stood around and bowed to my sheep. And his brother said to him, shall you indeed reign over us? Or who shall indeed have dominion over us? So they hated him even more for his dreams and for his words. And then he dreams to another dream and told it to his brothers and said, look, I have dreamed another dream. At this time, the sun, the moon, the 11 stars bowed to me. And he told it to his father and to his brothers. And guess what? They didn't need an interpretation. The father knew right off what was meant by that. The brothers knew right off. The fathers rebuked him. So he told his father and his brothers, and his father rebuked him and said to him, what is this dream that you have dreamed? Shall your mother and I and your brothers indeed come to bow down to earth before you? His brothers envied him, but his father kept the matter in mind. His father thought on it, honored him. As this jealousy grows, and as the second dream, the dream to break the camel's back about the sun, the moon, the stars, and other brothers, 11. They're out in the field, tending their flock. And the father sends them out to find out what's going on. When they see him afar off, they decide they're going to kill him, throw him in a pit. They threw him in a pit. They're going to kill him. But Reuben talked him out of it. And a caravan is passing by, caravan of Ishmaelites. They get the idea of this, make a little money off the deal. They sold them to slavery. And that was the end of the story, so they fought. And we get into Genesis 39 now. Not that 38 isn't important, but 38 is just building the plot. 39 we've seen already down in Egypt. And in verse 1, now Joseph had been taken down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh's captain in the guard, the Egyptian, bought him the Ishmaelites, and then taken him down there. And the Lord was with Joseph. He was a successful man. He was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. And the master saw that the Lord was with him, and said and that the Lord made all that he did to prosper in his hand. So things are starting to go well for Joseph. Matter of fact, it's usually at the point when things start to go well, and you think it just can't get any better, you got to look out. So you got to be wary. So things are starting to go well for him. He's starting to become an important man. Everything in Potiphar's house was under his command. Everything he touched prospered. One thing he kept back was his wife, and we can understand why. So the plot thickens. And his wife starts throwing herself at him. And he tells her, I can't do this thing. You're the only thing held back from me by your husband, my master. I can't do this great sin. We sin against God, sin against the household. Can't do this. So she's a woman scorned, she's all upset, tells a lie about him. Well, does that sound familiar in our political climate today? Woman comes against him, tells a lie about it, gets him thrown into jail, into maximum security in Pharaoh's jail. He's in jail, and everything the Lord has him touch, he prospers, even in jail. The Lord was with him. Skipping on down now to chapter 41. Pharaoh started having dreams. Now, when he's in jail, there's a butler, a baker, butler. Who's the third guy? Baker, butler. Yeah, I can't remember the third guy was now. Forgive me. But the three people had dreams in jail. Joseph was able to interpret. And he tells them, when you get out, remember me to Pharaoh. Now guess what? They got out and God made them forget. It wasn't time yet for Joseph to shine. So Pharaoh starts having these dreams. And along the line, someone says, hey Pharaoh, when I was in jail, the guy by the name of Joseph, he told me what was going to happen and happen. He told me what was going to happen to the baker, how he was going to be executed, the birds were coming to his head. And it all happens like he said. So Pharaoh sends for Joseph. In the 16th verse, so Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, it is not in me. God will give Pharaoh an answer of peace. So he's saying, I can't interpret the dreams, but God will interpret it through me for you. And he interprets the dream. And Pharaoh sees that this man is different. This man has the Spirit of God in him. Go down to the 37th verse of the 41st chapter. So the advice was good in the eyes of Pharaoh, in the eyes of the servant. And Pharaoh said to the servant, can we find such a one as this man who in him is the Spirit of God? Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, insomuch as God shown you all this, there is no one as discerning as you, discerning as wise as you. You shall be over my house, and all my people shall be ruled according to your word. Only in regard to the throne will I be greater than you. We see the plot building now. At this point, we get into a 42nd chapter. If God has to move heaven and earth to fulfill a promise to you that He's made to you, and you know God made that promise to you, you know God made that promise to you. He will do whatever it takes to move heaven and earth, even make the sun stand still if need be, and the earth stop rotating. He made a promise to Joseph that his mom and dad and brothers were going to bow down to him. And Joseph ain't seen that yet. 17 years old when the promise was made, spent a bunch of time in jail for a crime he didn't commit. Finally gets promoted to the household of Pharaoh. Becomes governor of the land, second highest authority in the land, only second to Pharaoh. He was the second highest in Potiphar's house, only second to Potiphar. Now he's second highest to Pharaoh. See, that guy uses positions to train us for the next position. And when he was in jail, he had the favor of the jailers. He was second in command in jail, only second to the jailers. Because they could see everything Joseph touched. God made it prosper. So the 42nd chapter, when Jacob saw that there was grain in Egypt, Jacob said to his sons, "What are you sticking around here for? We're starving to death. What day? There's grain in Egypt. Get a move on it." God had to send a famine in the land to start to fulfill the promise he made to a 17-year-old boy who's now well into his 30s. And he said, "Indeed, I have heard that there is grain in Egypt. Go down to that place and buy for us there, that we may live and not die." They were getting down to the dire straits. They were getting down to the last bit of grain, last bit of meal, last bit of everything. Couldn't even slaughter the cow because there wasn't enough for the cattle to eat, get fat on it. So they had to do something. So Joseph's 10 brothers went down to buy grain in Egypt. But Jacob did not send Joseph's brother Benjamin with his brothers, for he said, lest some calamity fall upon him. And the sons of Israel went to buy grain among those who journeyed, for the famine was in the land of Canaan. Now Joseph was the governor over the land, and it was he who sold to all people of the land. And Joseph's brothers came and bowed down before him. What did they do? What did the brothers say? "No, this isn't going to happen"? What did the father rebuke him for? "Your mom and me and your brothers will not bow down to you." Well, it looks to me like they're bowing down to him. What's it look like to you? Only they don't know this is Joseph. Joseph's brothers came and bowed down before him with their faces to the earth. Joseph saw his brothers and recognized them, but acted as a stranger to them and spoke roughly to them. And then he said to them, "Where do you come from?" And they said, "From the land of Canaan to buy food." So Joseph recognized his brothers, but they did not recognize him. Now, we think Joseph was some high and mighty, some man of great forgiveness and love. But we think that all things were taken out of his heart in prison. Well, I come across something that hit me for the first time. Hit me hard. I think Joseph is thinking at this point, time for a little payback. Look at the next verse. Then Joseph remembered the dreams he had dreamed about them, and said to them, "You're spies. You've come to see the nakedness of our land." And they said to him, "No, my lord, but your servants have come to buy food. We are all one man's son. We are honest men. Your servants are not spies." Now, what I find interesting in these next few chapters, I see the heart of Joseph, who does have a very forgiving heart. Maybe for a millisecond thinking, it's time for a little repay here. But I'm also seeing how the Lord's using this authority for confession time, for the brothers to take off some masks, for the brothers to confess some lies, for the brothers to get free of the past and what they did. So let's go on. But he said to them, "No, but you have come to see the nakedness of the land." They said to him, "Your servants are 12 brothers, and the sons of one man in the land of Canaan. In fact, the youngest is with our father today." And this is when they start confessing. "And one is no more. We've got all these brothers. The youngest is back at the house with father. He wasn't allowed to come. And yet one who's no longer with us, who's not here." So they start to confess. But Joseph said to them, "It is as I spoke to you, saying, you are spies. In this manner you shall be tested by the life of Pharaoh. You shall not leave this place unless your youngest brother comes here. Send one of you and let him bring your brother, and you shall be kept in prison, that your words may be tested to see whether there is any truth in you." there and stew a little bit while he decides what he's going to do with them and maybe sweat it out. And then Joseph said to them on the third day, do this and live, for I fear God. I find that to be an interesting statement. Do this and live, for I fear God. I don't know if the brothers quite caught that. But he says, I fear Jehovah. I fear the one and only true God. I fear God. They couldn't see him as Joseph. All they could see him as the governor of Egypt. They had no idea this was their brother. If you are honest, men, let one of your brothers be confined to your house, but you go and carry the grain for the famine of your house. And bring your youngest brother to me, so your words will be verified, and you shall not die. And they did so. Then they said to one another, we are truly guilty concerning our brother, for we saw the anguish of his soul when he pleaded with us. And we would not hear, therefore the distress has come upon us. And Reuben answered them, saying, did I not speak to you, saying, do not sin against the boy? And you would not listen. Therefore, behold, his blood, is now required of us. But they did not know that Joseph understood them, for he spoke to them through an interpreter. Joseph's listening to all this. He hasn't forgotten Hebrew. He's hearing everything his brothers are discussing. He's hearing the confession coming out. How Reuben stuck up for him. Reuben didn't want to throw him in a pit, didn't want to kill him, didn't want to sell him in slavery. But they wouldn't listen. They started to build some credit with Joseph at this point. He turned away from them and wept. And then returned to them again and talked with them. He took Simeon from them and bound him before their eyes. Then Joseph gave a command to fill their sacks with grain, to restore every man's money in his sack, and to give them provisions for the journey. Thus he did for them. So they loaded the donkeys with grain and departed from there. But as one of them opened the sack to give his donkey feed at the encampment, he saw the money, and there it was in the mouth of the sack. And he said to his brothers, my money has been restored, and there it is in my sack. Then their heart failed them, and they were afraid, saying to one another, what is this that God has done to us? Then they all went to Jacob their father in the land of Canaan and told him all that had happened to them, saying, the man who is the Lord of the land spoke roughly to us and took us for spies in the country. But he said to them, we are honest men, we're not spies. We are 12 brothers of our father, and one more, the youngest, is with our father this day in the land of Canaan. And then the man, the lord of the country, said to us, by this I will know that you are honest men. Leave your brother here with me. Take the food for the famine of your household and be gone. And bring your youngest brother to me, so that I know that you are not spies, but that you are honest men. And I will deliver your brother to you, and you may trade in our land. Then it happened, as they emptied the sacks, that surprisingly each man's bundle of money was in the sack. And when both they and their father saw the bundles of money, they were afraid. Then Jacob, their father, said to them, you have bereaved me of my children. Joseph is no more, Simeon is no more, and you want to take Benjamin away. All these things are against me. Then Reuben spoke to his father, saying, kill my 2 sons if I do not bring him back to you. Put him in my hands, and I will bring him back to you. But he said, my son shall not go down with you, for his brother is dead, and he is left alone. And if all calamity should befall him along the way in which you go, then you will bring down my gray hair with sorrow to the grave. So you see the plot building. The brothers got the message that they needed to come back to Egypt, and they needed to bring the youngest son. And Joseph knows that father is going to be very stubborn about releasing the youngest son. But this was a test. This was a test of their integrity. This was a test I believe God had designed and gave to Joseph. And Joseph wanted to see if they were going to protect the little brother like they did protect him. He wanted to see if the little brother was going to conjure up jealousy in them as it did with him. So he knew that they were able to bring the brother back, that the father would have released him, and that these brothers would be the protector, his protector. Go down to the 43rd chapter. Now, the famine was severe in the land. Now, Israel, Jacob, he's bound determined they weren't going back. Listen here now. God sent a famine to get the masks off. They were in the famine. Jacob is stubborn, or Israel is stubborn. He's not going to let this son go. He's not going to trust the other 10 brothers. So like God does in any battle, if you don't submit to his will, he'll make the battle longer. He's control over the length of the battle, the time of the battle, the amount of pressure put on. So God just lengthens the famine. Let me tell you something. When we don't want to do the will of God, it not only affects us, it not only affects our households, it not only affects our community, it can affect the entire nation if we don't do the will of God. God's in control. So let's see what happens now. Now the famine was severe in the land. It came to pass when they had eaten up the grain which they had brought from Egypt. And their father said to them, go back, buy a little food. Now Judah speaks up instead of Reuben this time. The man solemnly warned us, you shall not see my face unless your brother is with you. If you send our brother with us, we will go down and buy you food. But if you do not send him, we will not go down. For the man said to us, you shall not see my face unless your brother is with you. And Israel said, why did you deal so wrongfully with me as to tell the man whether you had still another brother? But they said, the man asked us pointed questions. He asked us pointedly, what do you want us to do? Lie, Father? See, they lied to him about Joseph. They made a coat of many colors and killed an animal and dipped it in the animal's blood and lied all those years that boy was tore up by an animal and killed. So now they're going to come clean on not lying. And they said this. He asked us pointedly about ourselves and our kindred, saying, is your father still alive? What we're supposed to do? Say we're dead? Have you another brother? What we're supposed to say? No, we have no more brothers. You see the point? And we told him, according to these words, could we possibly have known that he would say, bring your brother down? By this point, they should have spelled something not quite right. But he didn't. God had blocked them. Now we know what happened. We know they sent Joseph, Jacob sent Joseph, sent Benjamin, the youngest. We know this. Go on down to the 16th verse. When Joseph saw Benjamin with them, he said to the steward of his house. Now they weren't aware of what was being said. He says to the steward of the house, take these men to my home and slaughter an animal and make ready for these men from dine with me and do. He's preparing the feast. Now, we can go through more particulars, but let's jump down to the 33rd verse. And they sat before him, Now this should have said something to the brothers, but they were a little bit dense. They still weren't getting it. He set them down according to their birthright at the table. Firstborn according to his birthright, and the youngest according to his youth. And the men looked astonished in astonishment at each other. I guess they did. How did this Egyptian lead up there? Now you can guess the oldest. You can know the youngest because he just came. Some were close to age. But what's the chances of getting all 11 in perfect order the first time? Slim to none. But this man set them down perfectly, and the brothers were astonished, looking at one another. Then he took servings to them from before him. A Benjamin serving, you talk about someone really sticking to him. You talk about someone wanting to find out if they had an ounce of jealousy. Everybody got the portion. Everybody got the servings. Well, there was a little Benjamin guy. The little runt got 5 times more than everybody else. You ever cut a piece of cake at home and the brothers are there? This happened to my uncle. My grandfather was a baker. And my Uncle Jimmy, he was something else. Only a couple of years older than me and my brother. And they were cutting cake. He didn't like the way the cake was. So he got a ruler out and he measured it. Measured. Wanted to know if his cake size was as big as the next one. Another time, he cuts a big old slice of cake that was happening in our house. I'll never forget it. Grandpa Ben was still there. He cuts a slice, and what your cake, this bunch of cake had to be this big. Big. Triple size. And Grandpa said, "You sure you got enough cake?" He takes the piece out, lays it on the table on a plate, and he says, "This is mine." Took the rest of the cake. Grandpa about beat him silly in front of all of us. Yeah. So human nature would be a little upset about stuff like this. What happens? But Benjamin's serving was 5 times more as any of theirs. And look what happened. It didn't even faze them. So they drank and they were married with each other. This tells me a healing process had begun in their life. They lost a younger brother, Joseph. They've seen the error of their ways over all these years. And they have vowed to the father, 2 of the brothers, and I'm sure all the ones went with it, we're going to protect Benjamin. It can be our life, it can be our children's lives, but we're going to protect him with our very life. Nothing's going to happen to him without saying, as it happened to Joseph. I really think they're going to err their way. The next chapter, you see how Joseph really set them up. He sends them on their way, releases Simeon with them. He's all happy because Benjamin was there, but now he puts the money in the mouth of the sacks like he did before, and he takes his own personal cup, silver cup, sticks it in Benjamin's sack. Go down now to the 11th verse of the next chapter, verse 4th chapter. Then each man speedily let down the sack to the ground, and each opened the sack. They're already on their way going home. So he searched, and he began with the oldest, and left off the youngest, and the cup was found in Benjamin's sack. What happened was, Joseph set them up. They were on their way. When their sacks were being filled, he told the steward, he said, "Put the money in the sack, put my mouth, and put my silver cup with the money in Benjamin's sack." They let him go. They thought everything was fine. They're heading down the road. He sends military after him. Stops him. So, theft has been committed. We're going to get to the bottom. Everybody left down their sack. They're going through it now. At this point, I bet their heart just about totally broke. My God, what are we going to tell them? I can just about read all their thoughts. So they get back before Joseph. And you can see how it goes at the end of the chapter. You go down to the 34th verse of chapter 44. "How shall I go to my father? The brother is heartsick." He's telling the governor, who they don't know is Joseph. How shall I go to my father if the lad is not with me? Thus perhaps I see evil that will come upon my father. They didn't care about their father when Joseph was sold into slavery. They didn't care about their father when he took the coat of many colors and dipped it in blood. And all those years, the father grieved for that lost son, thinking he would be dead. Conniving, scheming, liars, lecherous, out for money for themselves. Thought about nothing of anybody else but themselves. Joseph, as governor of Egypt, could have hung them all and been justified, but didn't. But because of him and the schemes that were developed, he put money in a sack and demanded the youngest come back and then planting this on the youngest, he wanted to see if these men had changed. And now they're fighting. How can we tell our father this? He lost one son. He can't lose this one. This will kill Daddy. Take us. Take our children. Take anything you want. But let Benjamin go home to Dad. This is the argument they're presenting. And Joseph could not take it anymore. He could not restrain himself before all those who stood by him. He cried out,